like uh, it's not a boat. It's rather a plant where it's hauled with wood, so you can stand on it. Yeah.
So it's like a raft or something like
Yeah,
that.
raft, exactly.
Uh-huh,
Raft.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Wow, that's a nice, place to be working from. So, all right, very
Yeah,
nice. All right,
yeah. Thank you,
okay.
thank you.
And then how about you other guys? So, Karine, can you introduce yourself?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. My name is Karine. I'm from the Netherlands. Currently, I'm in Arnhem. I'm studying there.
Mhm.
I'm an international business student, and that's
Yeah.
basically it.
Yeah, very nice to
Nice
see
to
you
meet you.
again. Yeah, I think we met before.
Yeah,
Uh,
we did. We did.
yep.
Nice to see you too.
Now, Evgenio or Eugenio, how do you pronounce that?
It's Eugenio.
Eugenio. Okay, Eugenio, why don't you introduce yourself? Where are you?
So I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and
Ah,
it's actually
okay.
snowing here today.
Ah,
So
yeah.
it's not as beautiful as the scenery in the other guy's picture, but I'm some recent grad from NAIT, which is in Edmonton.
Yep, yep.
I have a Bachelor of Business, and I wanted to join X Culture because I thought it'd be great potential for the future,
Right.
and I'm happy to be part of a coaching program.
Yeah, very nice. I hear you already had snow this year.
Yes, we do. So actually, it's pretty white outside right now.
Oh, I thought it melted. I thought you had and then it melted. It's still.
No, it's still there.
Yeah, I
Still
have some friends in Calgary. I'm not sure if you know, I did my PhD at the University of Calgary, and lived
nice.
there for about 7 years. So I know that they had snow, but I thought it already melted. But maybe in Edmonton, it's still white outside.
It's
Okay.
still lingering around here.
Yeah, isn't it still summer officially? Or yeah, I guess it's already fall. Yeah.
Yeah, fall.
Okay, well, very nice. And then who else do we have here? I see Carlo and I see Tong or Tung. Carlo, would you introduce yourself? It seems like your sound is not working. Maybe being outside, the connection is not very good. Scarlett and Tong, would you guys introduce yourselves so we know where you are? Seems like the sound is not working for everybody else. All right. Well, a couple of words about myself, and some of you have met me. So I am in North Carolina, in Greensboro. No snow here, so it's pretty warm and hot here. It's like plus 30 Celsius. So it's like, 80 something, close to 90 degrees today. So I am originally from Ukraine. I was born in Ukraine, but I left Ukraine when I was 25 years ago. So after that, it was Germany for several years, and then Texas in the United States, then Canada for many years, a little Norway, and then it's been 10 years here in North Carolina. In fact, almost exactly 10 years. It will be in a few weeks, exactly 10 years as I'm here. And so I teach international business, so specialize in international cross-cultural teams. So teach everything that is related to international business, from trade to international finance to international marketing strategy and things like that. But my research is primarily on teams. So most of the work I do is when you have people from different cultures, how do you make them work better? So how do you minimize the challenges of cultural differences and maximize the potential? So most of my research has been on cross-cultural differences, teamwork, lately crowdsourcing. One of the things that I like especially is evaluation of effectiveness of training programs. So too often corporations hire expensive coaches, run all kinds of training programs, and then in the end don't even test if it worked or not, if the investment was worth it or not. They may ask the participants if they thought it was interesting and fun, but hardly ever companies evaluate whether it actually, the dollars invested in training, whether or not it kind of comes back in a form of profits. And so some of my research deals with that. How do you properly evaluate training? So, and then obviously I've been managing X Culture for a while, so that's become a big project, in and of itself. All right. So, do we have anyone else? So I see Marlon, Scarlett, Fady, Kimberly. Kim, nice to see you. And Kim, Kim, if you can, yes. So videos here. So let's do a few more introductions, and then we'll get to business. Kim, would you like to introduce yourself? If your sound is working. Seems like we don't hear you.
Oh, hi, boss.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Would you like to tell a couple of words about yourself?
Oh, yes, sure. I am Kim, and I've been with X Culture since 2016, and I recently just started my PhD program at Pepperdine. And I'm hoping to actually continue to get more involved with the students this year and the coaches as well.
Yep, very nice. So Kim and Tim van der Meijten, he hopefully will join us any minute. They will be basically managing the program. So they will be chief operating executive officers, whatever you want to call it. And so last year it was only Tim. This time, so there are some tasks that Tim cannot perform either because he's only a human and has 24 hours in a day. And it was just too much work for one person, especially one who is as busy as Tim is with his new job and all other responsibilities in life. But also geographically, there are some things that need to be completed by a person here in the United States. Some of our systems kind of block themselves if someone tries to log in from outside the United States. So some of those tasks had to be completed someone here. And so Kim volunteered to do that job. So thank you so much. And so they will be your main points of contact. And I'll talk a little bit more about how we will divide the workload. But both of them have been with XCulture for many, many years, have participated in many different capacities as students, as coaches, as ambassadors, as webinar organizers, for example, in Kim's case. So have a lot of experience with this organization. All right, so, and I see quite a few other names. So Maddalena, we met earlier this summer in Italy. Blerta, good to see you guys. I don't see you, I see your names. So if you want to unmute your microphones and introduce you very quickly, that would be nice. But if not, not a huge deal. So anyone? Maddalena, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sorry.
Go
sorry.
ahead, please.
Can you see me and
Yes.
hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So I am Maddalena Duglio. I come from Italy and I'm 27 years old. As you said, I served as an ambassador this year in Macerata, and it was a really amazing experience for me. I am currently working for the German-Italian Chamber of Commerce here in Milan, where I live, and I studied in foreign languages and international management at university. So I'm very happy to be here with you, and nice to meet you all.
Very nice to see you, Maddalena. Yes. All right, so it's pretty much the time to start the meeting. So, and even though not everyone had a chance to introduce themselves, I hope we will have more opportunities. And if we get into questions, answers, again, hopefully we'll get to know some people. A few words I wanted to say, and then I will leave it up to Kim and Tim if he joins us to say more. So very briefly, as you know, we have coaches and we have head coaches, and then we have the program directors, and this time we will have two. So the head coaches, sorry guys, I was keeping you sort of in a in the dark for a while, and the reason for that was that we had to work out some additional details before we knew what exactly we will be asking of you, the head coaches. So as I said, we were going through some restructuring, trying to find a better way to organize this program. And I was hoping and eventually was able to get both Kim and Tim to help me, or in fact, not even help me, to run this program. So I guess I will be helping them. And so until we worked out all those details, I couldn't really proceed with the job descriptions. And because of that, I couldn't send you your acceptance letters because we need to put in those a specific list of things that you will do. And as I said, I wasn't quite sure what you will be doing. So I wasn't sure how much or how little we will have to load upon you. Now we have worked out all of those details. So we had a long meeting with Kim and Tim over the last few days. And it seems like now we have a very clear plan. So I will be sending you the details right after this meeting, so later today. But briefly, the structure will be, as I said, the following. So we will have the coaches, many of them. We will have the head coaches, a few of them. So there will be probably about 30 coaches, maybe even 25. So we want to be more selective, and so still looking at how people will do on the theory tests. But so we want to have probably about a couple of dozen coaches, you know, the best of those who have applied. There will be about half a dozen 6 head coaches. Again, quite a few people approached me. I'm still trying to decide, and I probably will leave that decision up to Tim and Kim ultimately. If someone comes late but is a good person, do we put them on the team or not? So, but it looks like there will be 5, maybe 6 total. And then we will have 2 program directors. we have decided how we will split their workload. So Kim will be doing more of webinars, more of data management and things like that. Tim will do a little bit more on the performance evaluation, and will also support and help Kim with webinars as a speaker and things like that. And so the more detailed list will be sent out to you later today. And so as before, the process will go as the following. So we have 2 more theory tests. So one is due today, and then another one will be due next week. Then we will look at who passed and who hasn't and make some final decisions next week. And those will be made completely by Tim and Kim. I may provide some advice, but honestly, those are not difficult decisions. Looking at the results so far, we have kind of 3 distinct groups of applicants, coaches. So we have some people who are clearly ready, did every test on time, answered all the questions correctly, so everything's clear and nice. Then we have a clear group of people who are not ready. So we have several who never even tried to do the tests, or maybe did one and then disappeared. Or maybe did a couple, but every time it was like 25% correct answers, which tells me they just simply randomly clicked on the answers. So those are easy, we don't really have to even think about that. So it's definitely a no. But then we have a few people who are sort of in the middle. So kind of take all the tests, but don't answer many questions correctly, or did 2 tests, did extremely well, and then somehow skipped one. And so we're trying now to reach out and see if it was a technical issue, if they didn't do a test, or if it was something else. And so there will be 3-4 people where a little, kind of consideration will be needed. So where it's not clear if it's definitely a yes or definitely a no. And so my hope is that once we have the 4th test results, we will know for sure. And so from that point on, it will be the standard stuff. So there will be several things that we will have to work on. So Tim and Kim will decide how you will be assigned to challenges. We will probably make the assignment or some separation by the client company, so that if you get a question about the challenge itself, it's always the same client. And so this way you will know, you will be able to know more and kind of go deeper in that specific challenge. But so there will be several things that you will be doing. So for the coaches, it will be first and foremost helping students with, who request help. So the students will be asking for help either by sending an email to coaching@edxculture.org. And if they specifically say we have a problem, or we have a conflict, or we don't know how to do something, or we need an advice, or we need feedback on this idea, those cases will be assigned to you on a basically random basis. So it's almost like a giant line, and whoever's next in line will get the case. We will try to do it in a way that you get a mix of different cases. So, some conflict resolution, feedback, things like that. And we will be assigning 2 coaches to each case. Again, one, so that in case somebody is not available right away, the other coach can start working on the case. 2, that you have to, work together and you both get to know other people, but also sort of kind of learn from each other, exchange ideas. So the hope is that the final product will be better. But that's first and foremost. But then also every week the teams will be submitting their deliverables. And we will not be asking you to evaluate each of those. It's too much work. It's not productive, not good for you, and not very useful for the teams, because you will not have time to provide detailed feedback on every submission. What instead we will do is you will look through a stack of submissions that were submitted to your client, and then provide general comments, half a page maybe of text, plus or minus depending on how much you want to say. But you will be evaluating work and providing feedback, but kind of on a cohort basis, on a group basis. So you will say something like, okay, this week we reviewed, 50 submissions, and these are some of the impressions and some of the suggestions. So overall good or maybe bad, these are some of the common problems we see, and this is how I would recommend that you fix them. Here are some interesting things I saw, and maybe even take a snapshot of some of those submissions and say, okay, this is wonderful, I like it. If you find some other things that you would like to comment on, you do. And so we will send that consolidated feedback to everyone. And even though it will not be personal, it will be hopefully detailed enough and useful enough that everybody can learn from. And so this way it's less work for you and more informative for the teams. So then additionally, you will be given sort of kind of privileged access to Teams essentially journals. So every week, the teams, the students have to provide open-ended kind of account of their experience. And again, some of them say just a couple of words like, everything's fine, thank you. Some of them actually write pages and pages of text. And so just reading that stuff is very, very useful. It's as if you were literally allowed to read, personal diaries of members of, hundreds of or even thousands of global virtual teams. And so the goal there is twofold. On the one hand, we want you to read it so you know what's going on in the teams, and sort of kind of develop this understanding and intuition of what people in teams are going through. So the hope is that after reading enough of those, you kind of develop, an understanding of how these things work. And so it's not quite the same as if you did it yourself hundreds of times, but you will definitely have some sort of a sense of what's normal, what's not, what people are talking about, what the concerns are, how they change over time, things like that. Second, we will also ask you to keep your eyes open for possible signs of trouble. Sometimes team members are not comfortable submitting a request for help, but in the comments that they provide weekly, they may sort of allude to some problems that they have in the team. And if you spot those, we will be asking you to share that with the program director, and then more likely than not, you will be actually assigned to deal with that case or somebody who's available. So if you feel that there is some sort of, bullying going on, or maybe misunderstandings, or maybe conflicts, or maybe struggle, or maybe, whatever else, take a note and you will know what team it is. So we will not give you the email addresses for, personal safety protection, but you will know what team it is. And so once you see a problem, we will assign you or someone else to approach the team and say, okay, we read your comments. It seems like there is a challenge that you're experiencing. So would you like some help? And if they say yes, we will go ahead and assign a coach to that case. And then your portfolios. So most importantly, you will learn a lot in the process. Obviously, no question about that. But we also would like you to be able to kind of have something that you can present to your future employers or current employers. And so you will start building your portfolio. Cases that you're assigned, you will be asked to write a case report, half a page, maybe 1 page, summary of what the problem was, what did you do, how it went, maybe your assessment and recommendations for how this could be handled better next year or next time if somebody has a similar case. And so over the course of the semester, hopefully you will work on dozens of those cases, and so you'll have kind of a collection of cases that you can present to your employer and say, see, I was asked a dozen or 20, 30 times to resolve a problem, or to advise the team, or to provide feedback, or share my thoughts on issues, and here is basically my collection. But then you will have 4 more things. You will have a text-based training that you will develop, a pre-recorded video lecture, a live webinar, and what we call a pet project. And so in all of those cases, you will basically provide some sort of training or guidance to our students, but in different formats. And so the topic can be the same. Let's, for example, say that you, want to write something on plagiarism. Or maybe you would like to write something or talk about something related to cultural communication styles or differences in communication styles across cultures. So you will be asked to produce a paper-based or text-based training module, can be a few pages, something that can be designed either for members of teams or for managers or maybe for other coaches, no problem there at all. Then, so that would be something that can be printed and read, or maybe on the screen, read on the screen. And the good things, if there is something interesting there, we will literally make it part of the training materials next semester. And again, you'll have a copy, so you can present it to your boss, to your interviewer, maybe to your colleagues, so that they know you've developed something like this. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's more about trying and experiencing how difficult it is to develop one of those. And at the same time, having some proof that you have tried and you know a little bit better, since most people of your age never had to do this kinds of stuff. So you hopefully will look better than other applicants for a job, for example. Then same things for the pre-recorded video lecture, but it would be in a video format. Again, it can be the same topic, it can be a different topic, but here you will be in front of a camera. And again, same idea. So as a manager, you will probably have to prepare training materials, and not always text is the best way to go. So you may have to be presenting, in front of a camera or an audience. And so here is your chance to both practice, but also have a recording proof that you've done it, so that you can impress your future bosses. Live webinar. Again, could be same topic, could be a different topic, but it's a whole different medium. And again, one thing when you do a pre-recorded video, or you do a text-based thing where you have, you can pause, you can cut out things. In a live webinar, it's a whole different situation. You have to be swift, prompt. You have to, kind of manage the situation on the fly. And again, I'm not sure how many students will attend those webinars, because there will be 25 or so coaches. And some of you will be working in groups. It's perfectly fine if you decide to team up with another person, another coach, or maybe even 2 other coaches, and do it as a group. But in any case, it will be a lot of webinars that you will be organizing. And my experience shows that only a few students show up for those. I'm not sure if they're busy or they don't find them useful. Doesn't matter. But there will be other coaches in the audience. The program directors will try to attend. I try to attend. And so there will be at least several people watching you live. And so here you will have to both, on the one hand, decide on the tool you will use for the webinar. You're welcome to use our own Zoom, but you can do it also in YouTube Live, or you can do it in some other program. So there are many options, free and or free trial types. And so you will have to learn how the system works, because again, I guarantee you many things can happen in your future career, but one thing you will definitely have to do as a manager is run these webinars, training webinars, meetings, and stuff like that. So you will learn the technology, but at the same time, you will also try to, experience how it is to be in front of a live audience online when maybe sometimes some technology doesn't work and things like that. And again, you will record it, and we will have that in your portfolio. And finally, pet projects, same thing. So if you have any idea for any, organizational thing that you wanted to try, you can use Xculture as a platform. And I already gave you some examples from the last year. You can, one student tried to develop like a couch surfing platform. One is still doing a documentary on the winners from the last semesters. Another one wanted to interview and write a paper on free riding, so people who were kicked out from the teams. So he wanted to interview them and basically create some sort of like a extended article on experiences of those people, why they stopped working, what happened, what went wrong, what could be done better. So whatever you want to implement, as long as it can be done under the Xculture umbrella, and as long as it's ethical and doesn't cost us too much, we will give you the green light. So imagine that you have your own department and you want to try something, go ahead. So we'll have to take a look first at that idea and make sure that it's not too much, but more likely than not, we will approve it. And yeah, that's basically it. And so in the end, you will still write a reflection paper, but that's a whole, don't worry about that for now. So that's a brief summary of what happens in the next several weeks. Now, a couple words about the program directors, as I said. So we will have Tim van der Meijden. I still don't see him. I thought he was around, but I don't see him. And then we have Kimberly Nespers. She was here, and it seems like she, again.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so many people I didn't see you. Kim, would you like to say a few words? So those of you who don't know Kim, just do a few minutes. Go ahead, Kim.
Yeah. Okay, so I know it sounds like a lot. You got like 2 long papers and then a webinar. So, but really, it's actually just about the fun of it.
Right.
I actually used my research paper, Vas, for just kind of backup data when I was applying for grad school. I just used the research paper and said, this is my research capability. And lo and behold, I got accepted. So it's like you're not just using these papers just for Xculture. You can use them as your potential writing ability for future employments and just things that will show that you are more capable than the next candidates. So all in all, you are building your skills. It may not seem like something that may apply to you directly if it's for Xculture, but it really does. So I just wanted people to know that.
Absolutely. As I was saying, in Italy, there was this joke that I told, but it's actually a very serious one. So the joke was that 2 men are walking in a forest, and then they stumble upon a bear. And so they start running away from the bear, and the bear is, closing on them, and so is, running after them. And so they're running as fast as they can, but then one of them says, why are we running away from the bear? The bear is faster than us. It's going to catch us. And so the other guy says, oh, I don't have to run faster than the bear. I just have to run faster than you. And so the point here is that you do not have to be super, expert in cross-cultural team coaching or management. You just have to be, in most cases, better than other candidates, your competition. And so with this coaching program, again, I'm not sure if you will become, an excellent webinar manager, presenter, writer, conflict resolution expert, and so on and so forth. But what I do know is that when you will be applying for jobs or to graduate programs, I know that the vast majority, and possibly even every single other person who is applying for that position, for that scholarship, for that grant, for that job, it's almost guaranteed that they will not have that experience, that they have not organized webinars for groups of trainees, that they have not developed training materials and video lectures on topics related to international management, that they have not written research papers, just because people don't do it unless it's part of their job. And so even if your work will not be perfect, just the fact that you have done it will all of a sudden differentiate you in a very favorable way. All of a sudden you will have something on your resume that others don't have. And so even if all you have done so far is just tried, experienced the difficulties, kind of went through, but still didn't produce a good product, you're already way, way, way ahead of everybody else because they haven't even tried. They don't even know what the challenges will be, and you already do. So if next time you have to do it, you will probably do it much better than anybody else just because you already tried it at least once. And so that's the whole idea. Not to mention that hopefully in the process, as Kim said, you will have fun, and I love fun. I try not to emphasize it. I want to look serious. But yes, ultimately we want you to have fun, meet people from all around the world, maybe your future partners in business, or friends, or I don't know, investors, who knows. So all of you are very, very smart and not your average students. And I have no doubt that all of you will achieve a lot in life. So we'll have successful careers. And so today we all look like, students, recent graduates, or graduates are still students. But within 10 years or so, you will see. So I have no doubt that among these, would you have 16 people? No doubt that at least 8 will have an equivalent of $1 million in your bank account. No doubt about that, absolutely. So, maybe some will fail, but, many of you will do extremely well and may become investors, partners, friends, and so on. All right, so anything else? That's briefly what I had to say. Kim, anything else you want to say?
No, I just look forward to working with everybody.
Okay. Any questions, perhaps, or comments? Then is everything clear? When there are no questions, it can mean several things, right? It can either mean that everything is clear and there is nothing else to discuss, or nothing's clear, we are completely lost, I have no idea what's going on. So I hope it's the first one. But yes, so we don't have to stay a long time. So once the practical phase starts, which is next week, the goal is to have one of these webinars every week so that you get to know each other, share experiences. We call them roundtable webinars. They probably will not be, they will not be required. So if you have to miss 1 or 2, not a problem at all. But try to attend them, if only to get to know your other people and see what kind of challenges they have. And then obviously you can always send an email. Preferably you send it to coaching@xculture.org, so Kim and Tim will see them. But if you need to talk to me directly, you have my contacts as well, so don't hesitate to contact me directly. And if anything comes up, just send an email or ask in one of the future webinars. So for now, the key is to focus on the theory test. And as you probably know, it's not even so much about the correct answers that you provide. It's about showing that you can stay active week in, week out. Too many people, showing up and trying is 90% of success. So too many people sign up and think that they would like to try it, and then they drop out, or they think that it's too much work, or they just simply are incapable of, don't have the discipline of, staying on the task for an extended period of time. And so as long as you show us that you are there, so that's usually more important than what percent of the questions you answered correctly. And those who show up usually do answer questions correctly most of the time anyway. So, Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone, and so we'll be in touch.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.